So Craig, we've been chatting about this idea for the last couple of years now of portfolio box sets, and about a year ago we had this idea of actually making one each and putting it together in an exhibition. So do you want to share with everybody a little bit about the history of portfolio box sets and why you were attracted to the idea of making one yourself?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the history of them is not something that I'm au fait with, and probably no one knows exactly, but repeated woodblock prints both in the East in Buddhist monasteries, and then with Drura and people like the wonderful ones that Goya did. That's probably the start of it in the art world, and then it flipped quickly into photography. I think in America, where most of them were done during that high period of American black and white photographers. Ansel Adams did a set, wonderful set, and you know, my colour one that I like is Eliot Porter. And they're the ones that set me off, they're the ones that got me thinking, wow, there's something good about having more than one photograph when you go in to look into a person's work contained within
like having an exhibition's great, but it's something that's kind of lost in time, that you have this temporary exhibition but then those images don't sit together anymore. So and that's what I love about the concept of a box set. And I think for me, getting work through to a printed form today is really important. Like, we see so many images digitally, don't we? And we don't engage in an image digitally in the same way. We just flick through them on a screen. But actually having a print, and a print you can hold and put in your hands, it's something you can appreciate and look at that print and see the detail of that image, which is a whole different way of experiencing a photograph. And putting a set of images together can convey like a message a lot stronger than a single image can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it does show too is it shows the style in your work. Like, everyone's got a style, even if they don't recognise it themselves. They do have a style. We can kind of tell that's an Ansel Adams, you know, or that's a Richard Young. But why is that? And we don't know for sure, but when you get 12 or so lined up together, you can start to see their style emerging within that work. And yes, every artwork should stand on its own, that you can put on the wall, and that's an artwork that you can be proud of. But artworks always talk to each other. And they talk to each other in your house when you have them up on the wall or when you're looking at them. And this is the ultimate language, you know, the ultimate talking to each other, because here's 12 images taken by a guy that's thought through, that's gone through a process, that's thought out a theme, that's placed them there, and each photograph has an impact on the next one. That's kind of neat, really. Yeah,
like, it's actually even interesting looking at them here on the wall, isn't it? And seeing how the images talk to each other sat there in the grid.
Yeah. And in my case, I mean, I'm just totally taken away with the colour of New Zealand landscapes, and the way that Eliot Porter was taken away with the colour of the Appalachians area that he visited a lot. And just to be able to get that spread of colour into a set, because I can't get them in one photograph. I'm either dealing, as you'll see, even though they're strong colours, with a limited palette each time. And then if I can have 12 of them, I can show you 12 limited palettes rather than the one. I can give you the range of colour rather than, you know, this is one beautiful image of blue. You're going to get a blue, you're going to get a green, you're going to get a grey, you're going to get a range of the way in which I work. And that's kind of neat too. So it gives a more complete feeling about it.
Well, the thing I love about your moment and memory set that you've got here is just the sheer complexity it celebrates of the New Zealand landscape. And the New Zealand landscape's incredibly beautiful, but it's incredibly complex. And as you said, so many different colours. And I think that contains it all within this series here, doesn't it?
Well, you never contain the multitudes, you never contain everything. I wouldn't be that brash about it, but what's wonderful also is that, you know, we both work together more and more these days, but our works look quite different in the sense, not that I couldn't have done what you've done or you couldn't have done what I've done, but they're collections around ideas that we feel strongly about, and yours around that notion of silence. Not the opposite, but it's very different than what I'm doing. You know, I'm dealing with the complexity and the energy and the vibrancy and the colour, and you're dealing with that very subtle moment in between that you feel, that you explain so well to me. You know, that is quite different. It's not the way you do all your photographs, but it's a complete set. As you said, you're happy with it within that 3 years later. That's pretty remarkable.
Like, and I think it is, because quite often when I look back at work sort of 2 or 3 years later, and you probably think the same, and you think, oh, actually, I've got one that's better than that now, and you kind of move them around. But like, and I know a lot of these works of yours are quite old as well, aren't they? Yep. And sometimes you just get those works that you kind of feel stand the test of time, but that's unusual, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. But they are the icons. That's, you know, for Ansel Adams, Moonrise over Hernandez, or the moon over Half Dome, and, you know, with me it's one of my limestone images, one, or the storm in Milford, and, you know, with you, one of these is going to become an icon, 1 or 2 of them. And we've already just put them out for a few days to the public, and they've picked that top left-hand one almost religiously and told you that that's the icon that affects them, but you've got to decide whether that is actually, you know, but it will emerge. It will emerge that within that set, some will attain a sort of a history of their own that become more important than others. And that's quite nice too. It's like, you know, a range of people or a range of children or whatever, and some grow up to be different things. So within your own photographic work, and you don't know when you start, but with time, with people, with exposure to the public, people response, and your own thinking, you know, some will be long staying. Some will be stayers, and some that you loved earlier on might be stayers. But your collection, it's become stayers simply because it took us so long to do this. We changed a few. Yeah, I remember that when you first showed me. We changed a few. You changed a few. I did too. But there's some value in doing things slowly and thoughtfully and letting it germinate rather than rushing it out.
And when you started with your set, you had about 20 laid out, didn't you? And it took quite a few days to refine those down, didn't it?
Yep, it did. And I had a process where I only let people that I have great, you know, a great respect for their judgment to have looks, and then I also respect my own judgment to ignore their values if I wish to as well. But they do affect you, and it's good to be edited. It's amazing how many, well, I should be careful in saying this, but how many young artists feel that they shouldn't be edited, that that's their work and they stand by it. And I say no. You know, all the great artists in the world have been edited by people that they respect, other artists usually. You know, so even Picasso would have been talking with his mate, you know, about this image, and he would have been affected by it. So, you know, editing is a good thing, not a bad thing. You've got to believe in the work, you've got to stay with it, it's got to be yours, but you do have to listen. It's something that goes out. These gone out into the public now. They're not ours anymore. So they're the public's, you know, and their response, their relationship with these images will partly determine whether they become icons or not.